Okay, everyone. So, as always, we have the full chapter breakdown of Boruto chapter 66. Now, before we get into the video, guys, as always, I have to give you a spoiler warning. This video will contain spoilers for the whole chapter. Okay, the whole chapter from beginning to end. We're going to go into some details. So, again, if you do not want spoilers, please click off the video. This is not going to be the video for you. If you're still here, I'm going to assume you are okay with spoilers, okay? There's your warning. Let's get into it. Now, this is coming to us courtesy of Organic Dinosaur. As always, guys, please go follow her on Twitter. Go show her some support. And let's go ahead and look at this breakdown. Now, I already did a video where I basically went over the summarized version of the chapter. Now, if you do not want to watch this video, which is going to be a long one, kind of like all of these videos that I do where I go over the whole chapter, you can go watch that video. It's available on this channel, and where we basically go over the gist of the whole chapter, and I do give you my opinions on some of the things that are going on. And it's a much shorter video, so if you don't want to basically sit down and watch like a 10-20 minute video, then you can go over and watch that video, because it does give you a basic idea of what ends up happening in the chapter. So with that now finally out of the way, let's go ahead and look at this. So chapter 66 is called Kill or Be Killed. The cover page is Kawaki. The subheader says the fierce battle is rapidly unfolding. As for the curse of karma, what future lies ahead of it, since it's continuously evolving? Scene 1, basically setting up for the brawl, pages 1 to 6. So this is going to include everything from page 1 to 6. Chapter opens up panning to Kawaki's new karma activated arm, which is glowing with an ominous aura. Kawaki has a flashback to Amado's words from chapter 59. This is an extreme close-up of Amado's nostrils. The mustache beard is so scraggly. The detail for each individual hair is insane. His teeth are pretty aligned, still smoking a cigarette as always. And Amado basically gives him the speech that he gave him, like she said in chapter 59, where, you know, I can offer you the karma and all of that. It's right there. But keep your eye on this part right here, or keep this in mind. The choice is yours, because this is going to come up in a bit. Okay, keep this in mind. We then get treated to a neat left profile view of Kawaki, in addition to a close-up of his new left eye. Naruto stares at him. For some reason, I think the shape of the shape in his eye looks like a mini pizza slice. Okay, so it kind of looked like the triangles in Ishiki's eye. Or in Ishiki's dojutsu, how it looked like a wheel, but those little triangles kind of make it look like a pizza. Which, okay, yeah, it is kind of funny. Code says, what's going on? Why does he have karma again? On page 4, Shikamaru's just nervous, sweating. The scene switches over to Damon and Ada. Damon has his mouth agape. He's drooling quite a bit from the corner of his mouth. Ada's single eye is still activated. Ada says, as for whether or not to regain his karma, it doesn't seem like that Amado intended to let him pick either option from the very beginning. Its reconstruction was already finished. So this is confirmation that Amado basically already gave Kawaki the karma back when he reconstructed his arm. So for those of you out there who predicted that, guess what? There you go. Again, me personally, excuse me. Me personally, I was kind of hoping they weren't going to go that route, because it just seemed like the most obvious. And I was kind of hoping Kishimoto was going to give us like another explanation. It's just a little bit disappointed. I'm not mad at it. It does make sense. I'm not going to say it's like bad writing or anything. If anything, it just seemed like a bit of lazy writing, because like I said, it seemed like the most obvious choice. Like, okay, yeah, the first thing that you would think of when you're asking yourself, how did Kawaki get the karma back? Oh, Amado must have given it to him when he gave him his arm back. Like, that just seemed like the most obvious choice, and I was really hoping he wasn't going to go there, but there you go. Again, I'm more disappointed. I'm not going to say it's bad writing. I was kind of just hoping he was gonna go like another route as to how he got the karma back. Intended to let him pick either option from the very beginning. Oh, sorry, I already read this. Code says, what do you mean by that? When the heck did he? He knew that Kawaki wanted power again, probably by the time his right arm got repaired. The treatments for that karma were finished too. Afterwards, he just needed to make Kawaki himself feel as if he was up for it. So for all you out there who also said that Amado was manipulating him, guess what? You were right again. In other words, the result is that we would be the ones to give him the final push that would make him awaken that power. And Shikamaru, yeah, but this is actually kind of stupid for Code. Like, why is he saying all this while Shikamaru is right there? I mean, he had to know he'd be listening, or did he just forget that Shikamaru's there? He's still up close and personal as Code's hostage, trying to look back at him. Shikamaru thinking to himself, he's talking to someone. Where is his comrade, though? So Shikamaru, even while he's a hostage, he's still thinking. Kawaki says nothing. He just stares down at his left arm but doesn't make any comments about it. He looks at the back of his hand, then flips it over to gaze at his palm. Naruto says Kawaki. Borushiki says that guy is surprised since it's not usually possible for a karma to manifest again after you've already lost it. So is this the work of that old geezer Amado? What's he scheming? So even Momoshiki's asking, like, what the hell is Amado planning? Kawaki just coldly stares back at Boruto, or Momoshiki, excuse me. He says, "You damn fool! You'd be better off if you just keep letting other people use you like that, without you ever knowing anything at all, up until you become some fodder to feed to the Jubi." That is, yeah, I don't think Kawaki's gonna let that happen. Scene number 2, Momoshiki versus Kawaki, pages 7 to 13. Kawaki's left eye now has a white pupil. There are 4 little triangles in his iris instead of the one that he started off with. He really has a power-up brow moment here on this close-up, so it's so neatly brushed. Like, what kind of brow gel does Kawaki use? Ikimoto really likes doing his tiny little hair hashes in this chapter. 9 black rods get materialized and are aimed straight at Momoshiki. He nimbly steps away and dodges the first 4 to 5 of them. They just become angle stakes in the ground. Naruto thinking to himself that jutsu is, yep, he's using the same ability that Jigen did, where he basically can shrink and expand objects. Yeah, so it seems like, again, I made the assumption that because of how it was drawn, that maybe, excuse me, that maybe Kawaki didn't actually have Ishiki's dojutsu, that maybe it just looked that way from how it was drawn. But it seems like, no, he definitely does have access to Ishiki's ability, which, if that's the case, it's going to make Kawaki a very, very broken character, because that technique was really difficult to deal with. Code watches intently, but silently. Kawaki then transforms his right arm into a scythe shape. He swipes around him, which launches about 8 pieces of fingernail sharp tips at Borushiki. He has just landed back on the ground after dodging Kawaki's initial black rod onslaught. The spikes mostly just kick up clouds of dust and cause damage to the rocky terrain around Momoshiki, though. Momoshiki has evaded by moving a bit to the side of the attack. He then notices that something is materializing above him. 4 ornate black cubes with concentric geometric square designs are now floating right above him in the sky. They suddenly crash into the ground. Naruto braces himself for the impact, thinking to himself that power is entirely just like, okay, so he doesn't just have one of Ishiki's ability, he has both of them. The one that can shrink and enlarge objects, and the one that can summon objects from another dimension. So, you know, I've seen some people, one person in particular theorize that this is going to be how Kawaki does to Naruto in the future. You know, a lot of us have been wondering, how the hell did Kawaki deal with Naruto, considering how strong he is? Well, now that we know he doesn't have Kurama, and if Kawaki has Ishiki's power, then okay, yeah, that would explain it. It would explain he probably used the Karma's ability to open you know, portals to other dimensions, and just probably kept Naruto trapped there. In Kawaki's mind, he's doing it for his own safety. So yeah, Kawaki's just standing there as the clouds of dust billow all around him. Such a cool guy type of pose. Ko thinking to himself, so he's retrieving things from another dimension using Daikokuten. Yeah, that's the name of the ability. Moreover, he can even shrink materials with Sukuna Hikona. That Amado, is he trying to turn Kawaki into a second Ishiki? Code's claw is still digging into the side of Shikamaru's neck. I see, now I'm starting to get it. Naruto just screams Kawaki's name. He looks back over his shoulder as Naruto calls out to him. He says, what are you doing? That power is, well, aside from that, Kawaki says, wouldn't things be better off if you didn't move 7th? Not that it matters to me. So that's actually kind of interesting. Like, that doesn't sound like Kawaki. I mean, at first he says, yeah, you know, probably for his own safety, like, don't move. But then he says, not that it matters to me. That's not Kawaki. Like, how does he, I don't know, like something's going on with Kawaki. Coat seems to dig in one of his claws a bit further into Shikamaru's neck. It draws a little bit of blood. Naruto says, Kawaki, you, just how far are you willing to go? We're about to get to that. Now, before we move on, just a reminder, there is a big spoiler coming up in these images. So again, here's your chance to click off if you don't want to be spoiled. Kawaki stares back at sweaty and anxious Naruto, and ominous that sound effect surrounds Kawaki. I'm just doing whatever needs to be done for your sake. Now see, that sounds like him, but this sounded a little bit weird to me. At this point, Kawaki's left eye is back to just one triangle in his iris. Okay, so this is interesting, because look at what happened. Look at what happened here. She says that at first he has 4 little triangles in his iris instead of the one that he started off with, and now he's all the way back down to 1. So what that tells me is that Kawaki's dojutsu is a lot like Sasuke's, his Rinnegan, because if you remember, Sasuke, his Rinnegan usually has a 6 tomo in it, the 6 tomoe pattern, right? But normally he says whenever those tomoe are gone is when his Rinnegan is low on power. But then when it's bad, but then when they're all back, it's when his power's back up to full. He's operating at least near 100%. So it's possible that's what's happening here with Kawaki. Like his power starts off, you know, like first he has 4 triangles and then it falls back down to 1 the more he uses it. So basically that's could act as a sign that Kawaki is basically low on power and he has to wait for it to recharge. And if that's the case, that could be a good weakness to exploit for Kawaki. All right, moving forward. Here, let's zoom in. All Naruto can do is observing the battle before his very eyes. Code doesn't say anything. Momoshiki tries to rush at Kawaki from his left side while Kawaki is seemingly distracted and just looking straight ahead. Kawaki just gives Momoshiki some major side eye. He has formed a normal sized Rasengan in his left fist. Kawaki just swipes his left arm, and between them the chakra gets dispelled. Momoshiki says Rasengan. I think we're supposed to assume it just got absorbed here. Maybe. Kawaki, again, I need to actually see the comic in order to make a judgment. Kawaki then puffs up his cheek, inhaling some air. He blows out an unnamed fire jutsu. Momoshiki counters it by swiping it with his right arm. The flames just dissipate. Momoshiki then attempts to straight up kick Kawaki, at his current range. However, Kawaki dodges his attack by just suddenly shrinking himself into a tiny size. He's literally pocket sized, like no taller than the length of the heel part of Boruto's shoe. Kawaki has now resized himself back to normal proportions, but reappears right behind Boroshiki. His right arm has transformed with his fingers ready to strike. Kawaki lunges in, but Momoshiki just ducks to avoid it. He's then able to kick Kawaki away. He takes the opportunity to jump up and throw a few shuriken at Kawaki. It seems like Kawaki has just shrunken them down to an ineffective size though. With 3 triangles in his left eye, Kawaki materializes 10 of his finger spikes all around Momoshiki. Kawaki clangs them together in midair, trying to pierce Momoshiki in the middle of the group like a pincushion. Okay, so this, again, it could be what I said is correct. That whenever there's like multiple triangles is when he's operating at full power, and when there's only one, he's not operating at full power. He tries a few more times, but Momoshiki is just flying through the air and managing to evade getting crunched. Momoshiki lands and dashes straight for Kawaki. Kawaki and him are now engaging each other head on. Momoshiki has formed a Rasengan in his right hand, while Kawaki has a transformed right hand. This is probably my favorite panel, and clearly meant to be a throwback to the throwback parallel to the Valley of the End. Yeah, it seems like that's probably what's happening. Which, okay, whatever. I mean, it's clear they're trying to make these two the new, like, Naruto and Sasuke. It's okay, whatever. Their hands clash, which kicks up more dust clouds and rubble all around them. Naruto, Code, and Shikamaru brace for the aftershocks. Kawaki and Boroshiki briefly linger in the air as the remains of the blast settle down around them. Momoshiki throws a punch with his right arm at Kawaki, but Kawaki just ducks to evade it. Kawaki punches right back and lands a hit on Boroshiki, but he had his arm up to block the blow. He then gets sent flying backwards. Kawaki tries to continue his assault, but ends up only striking the ground. Kawaki's left eye changes again so that there are 3 triangles in his iris. Light-colored rectangular prism columns suddenly pop up right in between Kawaki and Boroshiki. Momoshiki manages to land back just in time to avoid getting squished by them though. Huh, okay, that's interesting. Okay, so maybe I'm not exactly 100% correct. Maybe the number of triangles in his eye signifies what ability he's going to use. If so, then that means it's still an ability that could be exploited. Because if you learn like what ability relates to the number of triangles, then you could use that to your advantage. So again, I need to actually see the comic in order to make a final conclusion as to what's actually happening, which is weird because with Ishiki that wasn't the case. His eye was always the same, like it never changed with the number of triangles. Like I don't know what the hell's going on here. I don't know, maybe Kawaki's different, or maybe he doesn't have or maybe he needs to train to get the kind of dojutsu that Ishiki had, to the point where it looks the same all the time. Momoshiki says however, Momoshiki's left eye starts to open up, essentially signaling that Boruto is now regaining consciousness. Kawaki's right arm is normal now. He makes an open palm gesture at Borushiki with his right hand, and 4 black rods instantly pierce through Boruto, though his left arm, through his left arm, right shoulder, mid-abdomen, and right knee. Jesus. I wonder how this is going to look like when it's animated. Boruto says shit. Kawaki's iris now has 4 triangles configured in them with a white pupil. He says it's over. A mega-sized ornate black cube appears right on top of Boruto, and his left eye is opening even wider. Naruto manages to swoop in and grab Boruto out of harm's way right before he would have been squashed. Okay, so like I said, we're about to get into the interesting part of the spoiler. So again, last chance to click off because this is a big one. All right. Zoom in again. Kawaki seems to be surprised by what just transpired. He says the Hokage just made a move, didn't he? Well, there's no point in killing you for now, given the current situation. Let's just watch this. Let's just watch how this will play out for a bit. Naruto lays Boruto down on the ground. He glares right at Kawaki. His left eye only 1 triangle in the iris now. So again, maybe my first assumption is correct. I don't know. Again, it's one of the two. I know it's one of the two. Naruto says, quit screwing around, Kawaki. Are you seriously trying to kill him? I'm doing what's necessary. Didn't I already say that it's do or die? I've got to do whatever I have to do. Naruto says, don't say such stupid things. That's my son. Here's the thing. I understand where Naruto's coming from, but I also get where Kawaki's coming from. Kawaki isn't technically wrong. I understand that Naruto doesn't want his son to die, but he also doesn't know what happened. Naruto wasn't here when Momoshiki took over. Like, he doesn't know that Momoshiki now, it seems like he can just take over whenever he wants to. And if that's the case, then no one in the village is safe. And maybe it would be better to just kill Boruto right now. Alright, let's move forward. I know, but at the same time, he's also a demon who's targeting your life. Again, he's not wrong. Boruto's left eye is opening up even more. Naruto says, are you sane? You. Which one of you do you think is the demon here? Naruto's perspiring a bit more. Kawaki just casually keeps talking. That sort of thing isn't the issue here. It's about what you can and wouldn't do. That's the issue. And that's why I'll be the one to do it, so please step aside, Lord Seven. Naruto furrows his brow and is enraged even further. This isn't a joke. You need to cool off and calm down. You're the one who needs a bit of a reality check, but I guess there's no other choice. Boruto has suddenly sat back up. He shoved Naruto aside in the stomach with his right hand. Naruto glances down at Boruto. Boruto's left eye is now completely open. Boruto looks straight back at Kawaki, thinking to himself, he's freaking woken up already. He steadies himself with one hand on the ground, still kneeling. Naruto says, Boruto, you've regained consciousness. He ignores him, just stares up into the distance. This damn brat, it'd be better if he just obediently went back to sleep. Boruto reaches for his eye with his right hand, then covers it with his palm. That goes for you too, don't get in the way. The effects of the drug definitely worked. Actually, I was even able to control Momoshiki's powers to some extent, but that was only a temporary thing. Exactly, it's what I've been saying for a while now. It's not a fundamental solution. It's far from it. The repercussions caused this mess. I almost killed Dad, my own father. Boruto, don't you remember what I said? In a flashback from when he didn't have his right arm attached, I'll be the one who'll make your karma disappear. I'll definitely freaking do something about it. Yeah, I remember. So today I became keenly aware of something. One way or another, I took it pretty seriously about having to go through with that last resort. Boruto's still speaking to Kawaki with his right hand still covering up his right eye. Kawaki's just looking straight back at him. He says, I see, that's unfortunate. Okay, are you ready? Again, don't say I didn't warn you. He says, hold up, what are you talking about? Boruto has clasped his palm together and intertwined his fingers to make the serpent hand seal. I don't actually remember what that looks like. I'll have to look that up. I'm sorry, Dad, but please send my regards to Mom and Hima. He says, wait a second. Naruto rushes towards Boruto and then grabs a hold of Boruto's right arm. Naruto says, what are you guys trying to do? Don't you think you're being too hasty here? Boruto then presses his left palm onto Naruto's abdomen. Naruto seems taken aback. He says, a wind release gale palm. The light blast pushes Naruto further away from Boruto. Boruto uses both of his eyes to glance back over his shoulder at Naruto's shocked expression. It seems like you've been prepared for this. Naruto's trying to dig his left hand into the ground to slow and steady himself. Naruto then starts running back towards Boruto immediately. Boruto stares back at Kawaki with a determined look on his face. Boruto's hands are by his side. His left eye is still open as if normal. This is something I could only ask for you to do. Do it while my consciousness is still suppressing Momoshiki. Kill me. The three triangles are now swirling in Kawaki's iris. Kawaki winds back his right arm and pierces Boruto straight through the chest. At least a meter of Kawaki's transformed right arm has gone out the other side of Boruto. It's dripping in blood. Naruto watches on speechless. Kawaki plunges a bit deeper so that Boruto and him are now face to face. Shikamaru's eyes widen in shock. Code's reaction seems neutral, as does Ada. Boruto starts to cough up some blood. Kawaki then retracts his right arm. Boruto gets sent flying backwards. Dust clouds surround them, and an ornate black cube just sits in the background. Boruto lands in a crumpled heap at first. Kawaki just observes the scene with two triangles left in his iris. So, okay, maybe what I said is indeed true. Boruto is then laying down flat on his back with his head turned to his side. There's an obvious gaping hole in his chest. Naruto stands by in complete shock, and then he just screams his name, which is understandable. Again, I'm curious to see how people are going to react to this in the anime. Boruto's limbs are askew in the final panel as he lays in the rubble. He is motionless and still hasn't made any attempts at vocalizing anything. This is the chapter 67 preview. They're brothers who swore an oath to one another after being at the mercy of their own destinies, toyed by their own fates. What path did they finally end up taking? So there it is. I told you there was going to be something big at the end. Now, look, if I'm being honest, do I think Boruto's dead? No, of course not. Of course he's not dead. Guys, remember, in episode 1, chapter 1, we saw the flash forward in the future. I mean, it's kind of obvious. Like, of course he's not dead, guys. Come on. They're gonna find some way to fix this. We'll see in chapter in chapter 67 next month. I mean, unless they explain that what we saw in the future was like a version of it that you know, because Momoshiki said he had his Byakugan had the ability to see into what people's fates are, and it seemed like even Ishiki had that ability. So maybe they could explain that this was something that Momoshiki just saw in the future, and that's why he said, oh, this is interesting. So I don't know. Again, unless something like that happens, no, Boruto's not dead. At least I don't see anything, and I know what happened. It looks pretty concrete, but to me personally, it wouldn't make sense to kill him off here. Okay, so again, let's wait until the next chapter. If they do confirm that Boruto's dead, then I'm gonna be really surprised. And it's interesting because I've had this theory working in my head about how the series could end, and it actually involved Boruto giving up his life to save the world. And I didn't think this was gonna happen in literally the first chapter of the new year. So again, it's you know what? I want to ask you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you think he really is dead, or do you think he's like, they're going to find some way to reverse this and they're going to find some way to bring him back? I've already seen some people float some theories online about how he could come back. We'll have to wait and see. But with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like, share, subscribe. And again, leave a comment in the comment section down below letting me know your thoughts. And bye for now.